Hello, a very good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry for the delay. This is due to network challenges, but I have managed to overcome this challenge. Um, Without further delay, I would like to talk about the discussion forum, which I see that many of you did not respond to. Although some of you have done wonderfully well, and some of you that could not answer the discussion forum via the VLE sent me a question through the email, and some of you could not answer because the deadline has passed yesterday. However, I have already opened it again, and you can still answer the questions from now till end of the month. So please take the opportunity. Don't miss this opportunity to respond to the discussion forum. So without further delay, we have much to do today. And as you can see from your shared screen, today is lecture 2, and we are going to talk about introduction. And the learning outcome for today is that you should be able to, at the end of this presentation, be able to compose an introductory chapter of any scientific research. You should also be able to know the contents of an introductory chapter, the ingredients. You should be able to understand the purpose and functions of the intro chapter. You also should be able to provide a good background and context of your study. Furthermore, you should be able to state clearly your ROs, which is the research objective. You also should be able to talk about clearly your research objectives, research questions and research hypotheses. You should be able to also explain the significance of your study. And finally, you should be able to understand the structure of your dissertation or thesis. So before I move into today's class, you can see that even before starting, I have mentioned the word dissertation and thesis. I want to categorically state that these two words are used interchangeably, but they mean two different things. While dissertation is more popular with people who are doing PhD, thesis is more common with people who are doing M.sc or MBA. So, but they all mean projects or research projects, scientific research projects. So that's why many people use them interchangeably. However, whenever you hear me using them interchangeably, know that I'm just referring to academic research. So without further delay, we're going to start with how to write an introductory chapter in any academic or scholarly publication or thesis or dissertation. So first of all, you need to start with why. You need to start with why do we need this chapter? As the name suggests, introductory chapter is talking about the introduction. You are trying to introduce the reader to why you are conducting this research. So to craft a high quality dissertation or thesis, introduction chapter, you need to understand exactly what this chapter needs to achieve. In other words, what is the purpose of this chapter? So like I said, as the name suggests, the introductory chapter needs to introduce the reader to your research so that they understand what you are trying to figure out or what is the problem you are trying to solve. And specifically, you need to answer some 4 questions in your introductory chapter. If you do not answer this question, so you are just writing ambiguously. In introduction chapter, you don't just keep writing without focus. Just like in the abstract last week, you see that I have broken down the abstract for you. I broke it down into several sentences. Each sentence has its own meaning. So also is this introduction. Every part have its own meaning. So these 4 things that you should put into consideration are: 1, what will you be researching? So in other words, of course, it's your research topic which we discussed about last week. So why is it worthwhile? Why do you need to research it? So you need to justify why you are researching that topic in your introduction chapter. I will show examples one by one what these sections mean. Then what will the scope of your research be? In other words, what are you going to cover? What is it you are not going to cover? You need to mention this explicitly, clearly. You need to mention what is it that your research will cover and what it will not cover. And finally, you should also mention the limitations or the shortcomings of your research. What will be the shortcomings of your research? Some people might think, oh, why should I mention limitation? That will make the examiner score me down. No, in academic honesty, you need to mention the limit. Sorry for the break in transmission. I'm back online now, and I will share the screen again. Lecture slides. Okay. Like I was saying, you are not going to get a Nobel Prize or you are not going to get an award for having the best project. So you cannot cramp everything in one at a go. You need to have certain limitations. And due to constraint, financial constraint and time, you cannot solve everything. So limitation. So furthermore, okay, so simply put, your thesis or dissertation introductory chapter needs to provide an overview of your planned research as well as a clear rationale for it. Like I said, the chapter has to explain the what and why of your research. What is your research all about and why is it important? Why should we even pay attention to your research? A lot has been done. What is it all about and why it is important to be researched? So to answer this question, you need to have 7 ingredients, 7 essential ingredients of any research. First of all, you need to have the opening session. The opening session where you will introduce the reader to your research in high-level terms. You will introduce the researcher to your research. First of all, that is what you need to do. Secondly, you need to introduce the researcher to the background of the study. You need to give theoretical background. You need to give theoretical background and the context on which you are going to research on. Then you introduce the reader to the research problems or gap. What are the gaps you are trying to bridge? What are the gaps you are trying to fill in your research? Furthermore, you then need to give the aims, research aims and objectives. Research aim and objective, they are two different things, they are not the same. Some people put it as one, aims and objective, but in research we have aims separately and we have objectives, and then the research question where you will clearly state each objectives that you want to achieve, and in the end of your research you need to mention whether or not Okay, again, I'm very sorry for the break in transmission. I'm back, and we will continue from where we start before my laptop restarts. I'm joining from my phone so that we will not miss out. But however, from my phone, I cannot share my screen. I cannot share my screen from my phone. So you have to bear with me until I fix the laptop, which I am currently working on. So as I was saying, you have to focus on the 7 ingredients, which I've already explained about the research aims, objectives, and question, and now I was talking about the significance. So the significance or justification is talking about you think uh, why you think your research is very important to the academia or to the world, how you are going to give contribution to the body of knowledge. Also, you talk about the limitations and the structure. The structure is where you briefly outline how each chapter, briefly what it contains. This session or to help orient the reader or to prepare the reader's mind as to what he or she is to expect in the end of the at the end of the research. I'm still having challenges. Okay. Finally, I have finally I have so I hope you can see my screen. The opening section. The opening session has get it right. So this very first essential ingredient for your dissertation or for your thesis is very important. Just like every other chapter, your introduction chapter needs to start by providing a brief overview of what you will be covering in the chapter, obviously. While there is no particular formula, this should be good idea, foundational sentences in your opening research. So I will be using this example of one paper about skill development. So to give example of the problem statement. If you are going, someone is asking if they can get the slides of this question, and this is really getting on my nerves. If you are asking me how you can get the slides at this moment, while you know that you can easily go to the VLE or e-learning portal and download the slides and follow suit. I don't have to be explaining this every class. This note is already on your virtual learning environment. It is already on the portal. You can as well log in and follow through what I'm explaining. So the example that I gave here for the opening sentence about the skill development article is that I quote, organizational skills development involves identifying current or potential skills gaps within a business and developing program to resolve these gaps. Management research, including X, Y, and Z, has clearly established that organizational skill development is an essential contributor to the business growth. This is a very good example of opening sentence or opening section of a research study. We are currently really left behind and we have almost 23 more slides to go and we are almost halfway. So I will be very fast and let's see if I can have time to answer some questions today. Okay, so the opening section, you Okay, sorry again, I'm back, and I'm having challenges today. I'm very sorry, it's not my fault. This is the first time we're having this issue in all our 3 sessions. So I will continue till where we will be able to stop. So the next sentence also should briefly introduce your research objectives, research aim and objective, not the specific one, just the general one, which could be something like this research aims to identify and evaluate skills development approaches and strategies for highly dynamic industries in which subject knowledge is continuously evolving. The first sentence that is very important in the opening session should be something like this. This chapter will provide an introduction to the study by first discussing the background and the context, followed by research problem, then aims and objectives, then research question, significance. Some people even add hypothesis to it. So the number 2 ingredient is the background of the study. So in the background of the study, you will notice that what is required here is mainly the broad overview of the topic area that you will be researching, as well as the current context. The theories also should be provided. This could include, for example, a brief historic aspect of the topic, the recent development in the area, the key pieces of researches that have been done in that area. So in other words, this section, you have to provide relevant background information to give reader a decent foundational understanding of your research area. Okay, so what specifically needs to be there is that if we stick with the example that was given about skill development topic that was mentioned earlier, the background of the study will start by providing an overview of skill development area and then outlining key research that recent research that have been done. What were the findings of those research? Then you further go to discuss on the modern day context and the challenges for traditional skill development and strategies and approach. Specifically, that in many industries, technical knowledge is constantly and rapidly evolving, and traditional education provides struggles to keep up with the pace of new technology. In short, the background of the study, like I said, you have to look at the theories, what have been researched, and what is new in that area. Okay. So more importantly, you need to write this section to assume that the reader does not know anything, is not an expert in that area. If there are industry-related terms or words that are difficult for people to understand, this is the best place that you should define what you mean by those words. So do not make any assumption about the reader's knowledge. So just treat them as laymen and do the needful and explain clearly. So it's always better to err on the safe side, explaining anything that is not common knowledge. Number 3 ingredient is to talk about the research problem. The research problem is very important because without the problem, what are you trying to solve? What are you trying to why are you even trying to do the research? So a research problem can be any issue or any question for which there isn't already a well-established or existing research upon which an answer is already existing. So a research problem exists when there is a need to answer a question or a set of questions, but there is a gap that needs to be bridged. As a researcher, you want to bridge a gap. For example, I have made a research about celebrity endorsement of political parties and politicians. But my research only focus on a certain area, which is celebrity endorsement. I'm only focusing on political parties and politicians. So another researcher wants to bridge a gap whereby he wants to also look at brand identity that is related to this aspect of research. So that is a gap that needs to be bridged. So a topic can be formed there. Even reading research problems and gap, you will be able to realize that there are potential place for you to find research topics. So it is usually to structure your dissertation in 3 specific sections. Okay, what has already been well established in literature, and what is missing in the literature, which is the literature gap, and why is this problem important, or why is it important to fill this gap? Okay, so still on the research problem, let's look at this example. Let's look at this example where it says that still using the skill development article that we are working on, we could say that organizational skill development is critically important for employee satisfaction and company performance. Numerous studies have investigated strategies and approaches to manage skill development programs within organizations. So you have set out that, okay, a lot of studies have been done. But however, the next sentence says that these studies have traditionally focused on a relatively slow-paced industry where key skills and knowledge do not change particularly often. So this body of theory presents a problem for industries that face a rapidly challenging skills landscape. So for example, web development industry, where new platform languages and best practice emerge on an extremely frequent basis. So you see that here you have clearly established you have clearly shown what is already existing. Then this paragraph, next one, is explaining what is missing from that literature. So as a result, the existing research is inadequate or is not enough for industries in which essential knowledge and skills are constantly and rapidly evolving, as it assumes a sloppy knowledge development. So industries in such environment therefore find themselves ill-equipped in terms of skills development strategies and approaches. While the last paragraph explains why the research graph is problematic. So as you can see from the example, in few lines, we have been able to, number one, state the current state of the research. Number two, we're able to show the literature gap. And number three, why gap is problematic and has to be studied. So by doing this, the researcher has made it crystal clear that the research problem lays the foundation for the next ingredient of the research. Yes, the recording of the class will be available after I finish the class in 1 or 2 hours, or maximum tonight. So using the skills development topic still, let's look at another example. Organizational skills development is critically important for employee satisfaction and employee performance. Okay, sorry, this is a repetition. Okay. The next ingredient is the research aims, objectives, and research question. This is also very important. The starting point in any objective is to clearly state your aim. I'm doing facilitation. Sorry, somebody is knocking at my door. So the research aim is the main goal or the overarching purpose of your dissertation or thesis. It is a high-level statement of what you are aiming to achieve. So for example, you could say, given the lack of research regarding organizational skill development in fast-moving industry, the study aimed to identify and evaluate skills development approaches utilized by web development companies in the UK, for example. So this is clearly the aim. So the aim is clearly identified or outlined, as well as the specific context, which is in this case United Kingdom, companies in the United Kingdom. You have already clearly stated. However, if you are going to mention objective is more explicit. You need to be more specific in objectives. For example, if let's say from your theory or from your research framework, you have identified 3 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. So for each independent variable, you need to have one objective. One objective identifying, one objective investigating each independent variable. So if you have 3 dependent variables, you need to have 3 objectives. Research question. 3 objectives, then you need to have 3 research questions. So it needs to mirror or mimic each other. For example, here we have RO1. RO1 is research objective 1, research objective 2, and research objective 3. This goes to show you that this study that I'm using as an example for the skill development has only 3 research questions and also 3 research objectives. So as you can see from this example, this objective describes the action you need to take and the specific things you need to investigate in order to achieve the research aim. They break down the research aims into more specific and actionable objectives. Remember, the research aim was a 1-sentence aim that was put out, but the research objective further breaks it down into more reasonable and more actionable objective. So the research question, the first stage is to mention your research question. The research question are specific questions that your dissertation or thesis will seek to answer, and this you need to mention in the end of your research. In conclusion or your discussion chapter, you need to answer this research question. For example, if you have asked what is the relationship between A and B, that is a research question. In the end, you need to answer, okay, the relationship between A and B is this, because during my analysis, I found out that A is really highly correlated to B, something like that. And we will do all this with different, with several examples. And if you look at all the papers that I have uploaded for you in your VLE, you will find out that this example of research questions and objectives are clearly stated. So the last point here says the research questions typically relate directly to the research objective and sometimes can look a bit obvious, but they are extremely important. So for example, here RQ1, you can see we have RO1, RO2, RO3. So here we need to have RO3. So if you have 5 research objectives, you need to have 5 research questions. And also you need to have 5 research hypotheses. So as you can see, the research question mimic the research objective, but they are presented in equation format. So this question will act as driving force throughout your dissertation or thesis, from the literature review to the methodology and by significance, we at this stage you have briefly explained the importance of your study, the background and research problem section, but you haven't explicitly stated how the research findings will benefit the whole world or the academic world. So the researcher needs to clearly show how their study will benefit the industry, academia, or both. So in other words, you need to explain how your research will make a difference and what implications it will have. So that is basically the significance. So if you look at the example, using the same example that we are working on, the skills topic, we will say that, for example, the study which contribute to the body of knowledge on skill development by incorporating skill development strategies and approaches to industries in which knowledge and skills are rapidly, skills are rapidly and constantly changing. This will help address the current shortage in research in the area and provides real world value to organizations operating in such dynamic. Basically, you should explain who will benefit from your study. This part is the salesman of your research. You need to sell your research in this plate by showing who and who will benefit from the study. Sorry, let me share the screen again. You can see that it went off. The sixth ingredient is the limitation. The limitation is also very important. Now that you have sold your research topic to the reader, you need to also and hopefully get them excited about the study. So it is time for you to briefly discuss the potential limitation of your research. As you all know, no piece of research is perfect, and this is true because for dissertation or thesis which has no budget and also tight constraint and limited researcher experience, generally your dissertation is the first or the second formal research project you have ever undertaken. So it's unlikely you are going to win any award, just like I said earlier. So you shouldn't try to impress. Just try and do your research based on your curiosity or your interest or what motivates you. So simply put, your research will invariably have limitations. So don't stress yourself out, though it is completely acceptable that your research is having limitation. So because even professional research have their own limitation, no piece of research is perfect. So the key is to recognize this limitation upfront and be completely transparent about them. Don't hide anything about them so that the future researchers could be aware of them and can improve the study design to minimize the limitation and strengthen your findings. That's basically what you can do. You should be clear about the limitations and be able to, okay, sorry, I'm sharing my screen. Let's see. It went off. So let me just continue. Okay, finally, you need to show the structural guide. The structural guide. Okay, sharing my screen. You should show the structural guide. Now that you have communicated what your research is going to be about, why it is important, and what is the limitation of your research, the final ingredient is to give the structural outline. So the purpose of this section is simply to provide your reader with a roadmap or a timeline of what is to be expected in terms of structure of your dissertation or your thesis. In this section, you need to provide a brief summary of each chapter's purpose and content, including the introduction chapter. It is very, very important. It is going to give the flow of your research. So you don't need to be too detailed here. It is purely an outline, not a summary of your research. A sentence or two explaining each of these chapters is enough. So for example, in chapter 1, let's look at an example. Hopefully my screen can be shared now. Let me see. Okay, very good. I can share the screen again. Hopefully, chapter 1, you mention something like this. You say in chapter 1, the context of the study will be introduced, the research objective and research question will be identified, the value of such research will be argued, the limitation of the study will also be discussed. That is for chapter 1. For chapter 2, you mention something like the existing or extant literature will be looked at or will be reviewed, and the approaches and strategies within the context of fast-moving industry, or especially the technology-intensive industry, will be looked at. Also, you need to draw your theoretical framework, your conceptual framework, your research framework will all be in this chapter 2. In chapter 3, you look at theoretical, okay, some people put theoretical framework in chapter 3, but some people also focus on methodology in chapter 3. While methodology, it talks about what is the method that you're going to use, what is the sample, what is the population, what is the limitation, or what is the population that you're looking at. So as you can see from this example, this section is simply outlining the chapter structure, allocating a short paragraph for each chapter. So if it's done correctly, the outline will help the reader to understand what to expect and reassure them that you address multiple facets of the study. Finally, we will have another discussion forum, which will ask you to discuss extensively these 7 ingredients for successful introductory chapter. You also need to provide an example where necessary. This is already on your BLE, and you will need to answer it also within 7 days. The key takeaway from from today's class is just to recap the 7 ingredients. Just now, these 7 ingredients are what you're going to do for your discussion forum. However, I would not want you to just copy and paste, but you've seen briefly what you have baked or what you have cooked here in the introduction. So if you cook it well, if you cook this ingredient or bake this ingredient into your dissertation introduction chapter, you will be well on your way to be building an engaging introduction chapter that lays a rock solid foundation for the rest of your document. Also, look at the examples from your VLE, where I have put several articles there for you to see. This is your VLE, and you can see that this is your discussion forum too. And all you need to do is to start answering this question. Discuss the 7 ingredients for successful introductory chapter. Provide example where necessary. Okay, Ade Tunji is having a question. I can see his hand raised up, but I cannot see him again. Please, if you have a question, I will take the next 10 minutes to answer your question. And I'm very sorry for today's delivery. It's very poor, I know, but it's not my fault. It's the network, and hopefully you would go back to the recording after, so that you can follow suit clearly. Thank you. Okay, let me answer Adetunji. Please unmute and ask and show your face.
Yeah, yes, good afternoon, sir. I'm sorry, there's no light here, so it's not really clear.
No problem. I can see you.
Okay, sir. So my question is,
yes.
No problem, sir. Sir, ideally, how many pages is a proper introduction supposed to be?
Okay, this is a very good question and a very tricky one. A very good question and a very tricky one. It depends on the level. It depends on the level. For PhD level, okay, let me, okay, no PhD student here. Is it MSc or BSc you're asking for?
MSc or BSc? I would like to know for both, because I would like to have the general knowledge, but I'm actually for MBA, sir.
Okay, for MBA, for me, a general thesis for MBA is consists of about 100 pages total, everything.
Okay, sir.
You understand everything.
Yes,
so if you take about between 20 to 25 pages or 30 pages maximum for introduction, it will be enough. But 20 pages is enough. Even between 15 to 30 pages, maximum should be 30, minimum should be 15. This is not written on stone, or it's written somewhere. I'm just giving you based on my experience. So based on my experience, because you need to write introduction, the background, the significance, the research problems, the research gap, the, what is it called, objective, hypothesis, research question, and all. So you need to take between 15 to 30 pages to write.
Okay, sir, please, what about for undergraduates?
For undergraduates, I think it should not be up to that, because it's not in-depth as the MSc one. So I would say between 10 to 20 pages is enough.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Aduze James. Aduze James. Ask to unmute. Okay. Aduze James. Okay, go ahead, Aduze James.
Yeah. Good afternoon, doctor.
We can't see you.
Okay.
Afternoon.
Lagos Center, Mushin. Yeah.
Okay.
My name is James from Mushin Study Center,
Okay.
Lagos.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Concerning
Switch off your video. Switch off your video.
the limitation aspect,
Okay. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Switch off your video. Maybe the video is making it difficult for us to see.
yeah, concerning the limitation aspect, explanation times I said that we don't have to take. Hello?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay. I mean, in aspect of the limitation, I want to talk about the limitation.
Please go ahead, please, fast.
I don't really understand and get the part of the limitation. Does it mean that we don't have to express ourselves fully, or there's a limit to what we can write in our research?
Okay, this is a very good question. By limitation, it means that you cannot cover everything. For example, you are doing a research on customer satisfaction of bank customers. So you are in Lagos right now, right? Can you hear me? Okay, you are in Lagos right now, so you cannot cover the whole of Nigeria because of time constraint and even budgetary purpose, financial challenges. So your research cannot be generalized to the whole of the population because of this. So that is a limitation, and that is also a future opportunity of research for other researchers. So you need to mention that, okay, my research is limited to certain area, maybe Mushin or Lagos Island only, because of so thing, and it is not a crime to do so. It is absolutely okay for you to mention that. So that is just about the limitation. So it could be that the limitation of your study could be that you use student samples. For example, you want to do customer satisfaction of bank customer, but the bank customers are only students. You focus on only students. That is also a limitation because you are not covering the whole bank customers. You are not covering everyone that is a bank customer. You're covering only students, bank customers. That is a limitation also. So that is what it means. It is not that you should not prepare for everything. No, it is those things that you are not able to cover in your research. Those are the limitations. Thank you. Who else? No one else is raising their hand. So let me see from the chat if there is any question from the chat. Okay, please, sir, can see the slide 6 by Obianuju Nwafo. Please go to the VLE and answer and see the slide. Slide is already on the VLE. Naja, please, Naja, ask your question. Naja should ask her question. Okay, someone is saying the second assignment is continuation. Yes, you can continue. You can use your old topic and continue directly. Najia, please ask your question. If you are not available, I'm going to the next person. I've asked you to unmute. Okay, so Najia is not ready. Obeyanuju Mwafo, please ask your question. I'm going to take 2 more questions and call it a day. Obeyanuju, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I cannot see you.
Oh, okay. You need to see me. Okay, good.
Of course.
Hello.
Okay.
I'm the one answering. This is Obianuju.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I would like to ask because I think we're giving one assignment and there's another one coming up now. Are we going to be, how will I put it? Are we going to be assessed on those assignments?
Yes, of course. If there is no assessment, then I shouldn't be wasting my time to give you the assignment. I can't be giving you just assignment for fun. It is going to be assessed.
Okay, sir. Because, you know, exam is almost around the corner and we have a lot on our hands. So I just wanted to know if we'll be assessed.
Same goes to me. Same goes to me. Same goes to me. I have 7 courses that I'm facilitating, including PhD courses, and I have more than 3,000 students that I'm dealing with. I still have to do my job. So you have to do your job, my sister.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. Next person is...
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, please, my question is also directed to what she is asking. I missed the last...
Who is this person? We can't see you. Okay. We can't see you,
okay. I don't know how to bring myself because I'm driving, sorry. So I want to ask if I can do the last assignment because I didn't join.
It is dangerous. Please park and ask this question. It is very dangerous while driving and doing this.
All right,
please.
let me park. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. But
okay, sir, let me help her to rephrase her question because I still want to get something on that. She was trying to ask if, since the time have elapsed for the last assignment, if she can be able to do her own now.
I have pardoned everyone, and I have opened the assignment to be submitted by the end of the month. By right, the assignment due date was yesterday. So no one could answer it from yesterday, but I have now opened it and everyone can answer now till 31st of October as a bonus.
Okay, sir, that's fine. But let me ask this last one because the time was against me when I found out about the assignment. So I just did it anyhow. Can I resubmit and delete the first one?
Please, by all means.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, I will answer 2 more people and I will call it a day. Dixon Osa, please unmute and ask.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, it's a delight hearing your presentation. And my question is simple. When you are doing research, you are researching a project, you're also researching a seminar. Is there any difference in the 2 researches?
Sorry, sir, you're breaking. I just had seminar and research.
Yes, I did say seminar and project. If you are doing research for the 2, is there any difference?
Not really. Honestly, the correct answer is no, because they are both research. You have to apply the same energy, the same techniques to achieve the same result. However, the seminar is not up to the weight or weightage of a complete research. That is just the difference, but the steps are almost the same. Yes, you still have to follow all these guidelines.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, sir, you're welcome. Last person is your Philos. Theophilus, you are the last person. Please go ahead and answer your question. We have already passed the time for the class. We're supposed to finish by 3. It's already 3:07. I have another class. Please be fast, Theophilus. Okay.
Yeah, good
He's
afternoon,
not
sir.
available.
Hello.
Oh, you are okay. Good afternoon.
Yeah. So I have to be clear here. This is my second time joining the class. I usually
We
jump late.
cannot see you. I'm sorry, we cannot see you. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are
Good
at work.
afternoon.
Hold on.
Yeah, I am at work. Yeah,
Okay.
this is my second time joining the class, and I usually jump
Okay.
late.
Okay.
And the first assignment that you asked us to do, I've not even know how to go about it. I did the second one. I don't know how I'm going to do like
Okay.
stuff over it.
You are breaking. I think it's because of the video. Can you just turn off your video? We have already seen you, so you have identified yourself. Or stop the video so that we can hear you.
Okay, I've started the video, sir. Now, what I'm saying, sir,
please rephrase your question
I'm talking about,
so that I can hear you now.
Yeah, that is my second turn of joining the class. And the first class I joined late, and this second class I'm also joining late also. I didn't get a full assignment that you give to us, and how am I going to go about it, sir? I mean, it's not only me that experience this kind of challenge. We are many out there.